Hello everybody and welcome back to yet another video and to a very unique video. I'm here today with my sister.
Hello.
Who has been mentioned many a time on many a live stream because I steal her room for my live streaming purposes because she has better Wi-Fi than me.
It is an honor and a pleasure.
It is. Thank you. Now, she knows a lot about musicals, musical theater, etc. And for a while, I've had a video I've wanted to do. For a long time, I've been thinking, what would happen if we attempted to make a Cars musical? But not just any musical, a Cars jukebox musical. Can you explain to them what that is exactly?
Yeah, so a jukebox musical is basically a musical in which the songs that are used are all pop music. So they're not like written specially for that musical.
They're all pre-existing
They are
songs.
all pre-existing popular songs.
So think like Kids Bop, but with a plot?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, like I don't know, the first one that comes to my mind is like Mamma Mia. Are there any other like really famous ones? I think that's got to be the most well-known.
Yeah, that's a super well-known one.
That uses only ABBA songs.
Yeah, there's been like a huge wave on Broadway recently of like jukebox musicals, so like the Tina Turner musical and like stuff like that where it's like
that's all Tina Turner music.
Yeah, where it's like about the artist. It's sometimes done that way, or sometimes you have something like Mamma Mia where it's like a completely different story with music that already exists, which is, you know,
what we're
Cars
doing
musical
here.
Adjacent.
Right. So what we're doing is while the musicals we listed use music from one artist in both of them, but we are not doing that. We've both written a list of 10 songs. We've both written our very own Cars jukebox musical pitches using nothing but pop music to score the Cars series. And I'm going to read off mine, she's going to read off hers, and then, I don't know, maybe we'll have people vote for which one is better.
I want to know your thoughts, so...
Okay. I guess we may as well get started. We just did the first Cars movie. If this does well, I don't know, maybe we could do a really bad one for Cars 2. Where do you even start with Cars 2?
I don't know.
How many songs do you know about British cars that, like, shoot missiles at decrepit older cars?
Right, like...
I think Katy Perry had one about that. One or two in her
repertoire. Stretch for sure, but we can make it happen.
Like if you look really deep on Teenage Dream, it was a bonus track. Anyway, I'm gonna get started with mine, and then she'll read off hers. Neither of us know any of the songs here, so
yeah, this is a grand reveal for each other.
So again, it's all pop music. Specifically, we tried to do from the last, I think I said 20 years. I specifically told her don't go past Britney Spears and the Backstreet Boys in terms of date.
I think I might have accidentally went against that 2 times, but it's like popular enough that I feel like people will know it.
Yeah, I had to stop myself from putting in like 80s like rock.
Okay, I might have kind of done that a little
that's
bit.
perfectly
Sorry.
fine. No, It's all good. We're gonna begin. So Cars begins, right? The other rule we had was we couldn't use songs from the real Cars movies.
Yes.
The first Cars has
There's no Life is a Highway.
Unfortunately. The first Cars has such an iconic opening. It's hard to replace songs like Real Gone or Life is a Highway. Ignore the fact that I didn't know...
Real Gone is so good.
I didn't know what they were saying in Real Gone for most of my life. I just recently learned they said, I'm American-made Bud Light Chevrolet. And I don't know what was being said there before, and I'm pretty sure somebody told me once there's a censored version where they say apple pie Chevrolet.
Do they say apple pie in the movie?
No, it's Bud Light. It's Bud Light.
Slay.
So nice to know that Bud Light is... Can I add that?
Bud Light sponsor. Bud Light product placement.
Do we have time to fit that into the third iceberg? Bud Light. Bud Light is in Cars. Okay, so Lightning McQueen, right? I tried to format it like an actual musical where the characters will be singing about how they feel, etc., etc. And so we got to start off with something that gets us into the headset of Lightning McQueen. When we start with him, he's cocky, he's self-centered, he's just living his best life as a rookie in the Piston Cup. So naturally, for the entire first Motor Speedway of the South race, when we see Lightning coming out of Mac, he's singing Applause by Lady Gaga.
That's beautiful.
Because we had to. He does, in fact, live for the applause. Applause. So, I don't know. I think that's good. You have, like, the background track of... I think there's background of people clapping there. so we could get that when he's like coming out of Mac.
Yeah.
Somebody better take all of our ideas and edit them into the movie, and they get like 40 copyright claims. So yeah, he has his race. He runs his race. The plot happens, as we all know. We get the 3-way tie between Lightning, the King, and Chick Hicks, and Lightning goes off inside Mac to get to the tiebreaker race. And then a few fine fellows show up: the DJ Boost, Wingo, and Snotrod, the delinquent road hazards, the tuners, whatever you want to call them, unless you don't put them in the order of DJ Boost, Wingo, and Snotrod, in which case you are wrong. That's the definitive order to list their names, thank you. Anyway, when they show up, this one was hard, but I was like, I need to give these guys a song. Now, in the movie...
I love that you're giving them a song.
The song that plays is called Rolling in the Rear View, and it's like a 59-second long song that's just like, wow, cool guy music.
Giving Rolling in the Deep by Adele. But very different,
But actually they're in the rear view.
They're both just rolling.
Rolling in. rolling on the river. What's the difference?
True.
So naturally, when the tuners show up on the highway, they are absolutely cranking Riding Solo by Jason Derulo.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Now, they aren't riding solo. That was sort of my problem. But, you know,
But I feel like they'd all be vibing to that together.
Exactly. They ride as one. This is probably the only song that isn't sung by somebody in the scene. I'd like to think that DJ would be cranking this. Or alternatively, you could just have the 4 of them singing it. So, you know, every musical has, like, one song that's sung by side characters that, like, you know, they all have that one. So, the tuners just sort of randomly show up. They do that. And, of course, that leads Mac to drop McQueen off. McQueen is lost. He ends up in Radiator Springs. He wrecks up the entire town. And he's brought to court. And, of course, they force him to pave the road. And... after this point, Lightning tries to escape the town, only to realize that his gas has been siphoned. You might say that Lightning would want to break free, which is why the next song is Break Free by Ariana Grande. This song starts... This song starts when Lightning is in court, and will continue, and it will get dramatically cut off when he's trying to drive off, and then he stops because he learns that they siphoned his gas. That's where we stop.
That's genius.
I think we could throw some, like, in between the lines or in between the verses, we could throw some exposition that they got to hook him up to Bessie, to the road paving machine.
That's good.
So the movie continues as normal after that point. We don't get the next song for a few fine minutes. We have Lightning challenge Doc to the race, etc., etc. And as Lightning is struggling to pave the road, he starts to think about Chick Hicks and how he's... you know, how he's doing better. In the movie, we, of course, get the whole dream sequence where we see Chick Hicks racing for Dynaco now and all that. Mm-hmm. And so I thought that would be the perfect place to put in the song for Chick Hicks. This was the hardest to pick. I really needed a good villain song for Chick Hicks. I thought it would be perfect if Chick Hicks' song comes in when we're watching this fictional winning streak. This is Lightning's greatest fear, is that Chick Hicks is going to do this. So Chick Hicks begins to sing International Love by Pitbull. Now hear me out. I immediately thought, I need like a song about somebody making bank. I need a song about someone being famous. So my mind immediately went to Pitbull. Mm-hmm. And I wrote down some very specific lyrics here that I think really just ooze Chick Hicks.
Okay.
He goes, I don't play football, but I've touchdown everywhere. Everywhere? Everywhere. He then later says, I've been to countries and cities I can't pronounce, and the places on the globe I didn't know existed. This sheer obliviousness to the rest of the world outside of himself, which Pitbull probably thought sounded pretty cool, will instead be twisted here to be Chick Hicks discussing how famous he is, how cool he is, and how everyone loves him all around the world, and how he's become super famous because of it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Anyway, after Lightning's a little terrifying mental journey there, Mater is allowed to hang out with him for the night. And they go tractor tipping, right? And they start to bond, they start to become friends. They run away from Frank, who I hope would be like a giant stage puppet looking thing. That'd be pretty cool, guys.
Yeah, that would be really cool.
Anyway, Mater realizes that he's made a friend, you know? And we don't have much of Mater's past. We only recently learned that the guy is, like, stacked with cash and has, like, a wealthy sister. We just learned this from the show.
Yeah.
So, well, what would be appropriate for Mater to sing? He was like, dude grew up rich, right? And he sort of escaped that for a different life, and now he's been kind of lonely. Now he's making a friend, and that's why he's gonna sing "Castle on the Hill" by Ed Sheeran.
Please.
Now, granted, he couldn't have broken his leg when he was 6 years old, so I would like to request some lyric changes. When I was 6 years old, I broke my wheel. I was running from my sister, and that's all I got. But, you know, he's sort of singing an ode to his past life, and how he's moving on now, and how he's friends with Lightning now. And, you know, it's all going to be, you know, everything's going to be good with them from here on out. Yeah, so Mater's going to have, like, this solo, like, spotlight-lit power ballad after Lightning goes off to sleep at the Cozy Cone.
I'm obsessed with that.
That's where this is.
That's really cool.
Speaking of long power ballads, we have another one up in a little bit. So, the next day, of course, Lightning kicks the world's most convenient can into Doc Hudson's garage, and he realizes that there are a bunch of piston cups in there. He's like, wow, this guy's got 3 piston cups. And he goes back to Flo's, and he tells everyone that, and nobody believes him. And, of course, Doc had to kick him out of Flo's. And there's one shot in the movie where Doc is sort of watching everybody at Flo's through the window, and they have no idea that he was a race car. I guess Google doesn't exist in Radiator Springs. And this is when Doc, all alone, reminisces on his past life. And that's why Doc starts singing Viva La Vida by Coldplay.
Please.
See,
that is really funny.
He used to rule the world, you know? And I know we learned that Doc crashed and all that a bit later on in the movie when he tells Lightning, but here, this is Doc's big power ballad. This is like the song the old lady sings in the Heights. This is like the obligatory, like, I'm old and used to be cool song.
Yeah.
You know? So he has this big dramatic musical number where we're seeing, like, other people on stage as young Doc, and they're all racing around, and they're doing great for themselves, and then he crashes, you know, because... But that was when he ruled the world.
Beautiful imagery.
Thank you. So right after this, I guess we keep the sort of depressing songs about past glory trend going, because Lightning and Sally go off on their drive immediately after this, and Sally, of course, takes him to the cliff up by the Wheelwell Motel, and she tells him how Radiator Springs used to be, and I wanted a big musical number here. The scene in the original movie is beautiful, the scene where they play Our Town and all that. But here, instead, we're going to watch the flashback as all the Radiator Springs townies sing Pompeii by Bastille. So they all sang about, we see Radiator Springs as the interstate opens up and they're all kicked out of the town. This and Viva La Vida switched places as for who sang these. And I mean, Pompeii is a little more upbeat, but still I think it fits, and I'd like us to sort of go from, as the song continues, we go from one car in town singing to the other. But, you know, if you close your eyes, you know, it's very, very hard to be an optimist about this, though, on account of everything in the town. It sounds really hard. In the town. It's really hard. How can I be an optimist about this?
I understand why they're singing about it.
I played about 3 seconds of footage from that song once. I just played, if you close your eyes, it almost feel like nothing changed at all, and I got copyright claim for it. This is how broken YouTube is. Come on, guys, unfair.
Guys, I really wish we could play these songs, but it's okay. Find a way.
Anyway, Okay, so I'm trying to think in the movie. This is where it gets fuzzy for me. This is like the weird tractor stampede scene, which is like so forgettable. Nobody remembers the tractor stampede scene. Like, I guess it isn't long, but I genuinely always forget it's in there. I mean, I guess last year they released a tractor with a tire in its mouth. The diecast was, for the record, called Tractor with Tire in Mouth. It was that clunky.
So creative.
But, like nobody remembers that part, so I don't know. Lightning finds Doc racing, and then Doc tells him his backstory and all that. And, you know, everyone in town is starting to warm up to Lightning. And he turns the lights back on in the town, and they're all dancing. And then he gets swarmed by the paparazzi, which naturally, our next song is Paparazzi by Lady Gaga. Of course. Now, this is sung by the entirety of the paparazzi. All of them. Every single one of them. They'll be the ensemble, okay? We all know from Cars 3 that they are Guido's greatest enemy. But here we just learn how much of a menace they are to Lightning McQueen as he is like warded off into Mac while they're all singing this. He doesn't get a chance to talk to anybody. They are absolutely swarming him. And after he leaves, we have that dramatic scene where Sally where Sally scolds Doc for calling the press on him. And I feel like that's such another like musical trope. You always have like that 11th hour song where somebody gets like a like dramatic like musical number right before the end. I'm thinking all the unnecessary songs they put in the live action Disney remakes. When they like gave the Beast a song when Belle's running away, that doesn't need to be there. But here it's Sally, and she's in love with Lightning McQueen now, so she sings "Red" by Taylor Swift because he is in fact red. She is covering her mouth now as if she's just realized that she totally should have done this.
That's just such a genius.
It's at this point that I would like to say I'd like to call this entire musical Red. So there you go. It was the one
track.
It was the one Taylor Swift song that where she isn't angry and broken up with somebody. Although I guess she is speaking in the past tense. And the first line is about a Maserati, etc. Which Lightning McQueen
Sally wouldn't be
isn't.
able to drive a new Maserati. She can only ever drive a Porsche.
On account of being one, yeah.
But it's okay. Like, we can dream.
Exactly.
We all want to be someone else sometimes.
So, Lightning runs the last race. And this is a dramatic scene, but it'll be a short scene because there's not a song in it. But still, it's a pretty tense scene. And, you know, he learns, he pushes the king to the finish line, and he denies racing for Dinoco and all that. And everything's just fine for him. At the very end of the movie, of course, he returns to Sally. He reveals he's living in Radiator Springs. Mater gets a ride in the Dinoco helicopter. And I was thinking, well, I can't just have like a dramatic song between these two to end it. This is a big musical. I need a massive closing number for everyone in town to sing, and then we do like the curtain call and they all come out. Okay, so, you know, Radiator Springs, the town's going to be renovated, and that's why they all end it by singing Uptown Funk by Bruno Mars. They all sing Uptown Funk. They're having a great time now in Radiator Springs. Everything is going to be great, okay? And if you don't believe them, just watch. I want an epic dance break. I want Ramon to start break dancing.
Oh, that's super doable.
Specifically Ramon. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that is where we end it. That is my pitch for Cars the Musical. Thank you.
Gorgeous.
Okay. Would you like to begin?
Sure.
I hope I know these.
Okay. So, for my version of the Cars musical, I am thinking about the opening race and just like the whole opening sequence would be Shut Up and Drive by Rihanna. Mm-hmm. And I think it would be sung by, like, mostly by McQueen, but like definitely like Chick Hicks and the King, like all the people would like come in. And I think that like it would bleed into, it would probably like pause for some dialogue after the race is done to like, so that we can get the sense that McQueen needs to go to California now, and then it would continue and end with him, like, making Mac drive him to California right now. So that's kind of how it would begin. And then he would, like, you know, the whole thing would happen. He would get to Radiator Springs. I think my DJ Boost Wingo sequence does not include a song, which is very unfortunate. Wow. But I think that would still happen. And he would mess up the road and, like, all of that. I think that would be, like, dialogue heavy, kind of like montage-esque. And then, as he's repaving the road, we would go into the song Lonesome by Sabrina Carpenter.
Right, great.
Which sounds like a country western, like,
it starts
film
with like a
beginning.
Woo, like that weird like
like you imagine like you just see people's eyes and like they're
like I'm waiting for a
down
tumbleweed to just pop up next to me when I hear that.
Yeah, and then some of the fantastic lyrics include you can't spell lonesome without me, and I can just imagine like McQueen like singing this to himself as he's like pulling Bessie, the paving machine, and it doesn't like completely encompass what he's going through, but I feel like it would like come from his soul,
right? As
like something that he's like, wow, I'm so alone in this.
Specifically an Owen Wilson wow.
Yeah.
That kind of wow.
Of course.
Not a regular wow.
No, always. Yeah.
Obviously.
Because, you know, all this stuff has happened and he went to court and like now he's just alone and sad. But then he starts to make friends, right? So he ends up going tractor tipping with Mater. And as they're warming up to each other, and as McQueen is warming up to the idea of tractor tipping and builds into tractor tipping itself, the two of them would both be singing One Way or Another by One Direction. And then we would have they would start singing it softly and separately, and then it would build up together, and then it would be like destroyed by Frank coming in.
Right. Just like One Direction itself, it will in fact be destroyed.
Oh, yeah, but I'm kind of debating if like Frank would sing it, because I feel like he has the same agenda as the song.
Dang.
So maybe he would like pop on in the last like.
I don't know if that guy
can
speak, but like.
But maybe not. Also, maybe not. You know what I mean?
We go
or
deep
they would
into,
just be running away.
We go deep into Frank's psyche.
Yeah, maybe
Dang,
Frank wouldn't.
We should have given Frank a.
But it definitely goes with the vibe.
Solo.
Power ballad by Frank. So then after that, McQueen finds Doc's piston cups, and I think that would be kind of a brief, reflective moment for him. And then he goes out with Sally, and as she's explaining the town to him, her voice fades away.
Right.
And it turns into Gorgeous by Taylor Swift.
Okay. Is she singing this about McQueen or about the town?
McQueen is gonna, sing it as she's talking.
Oh, McQueen's singing it.
In the first verse, and then it flips, and then she's singing the second verse, and then it ends together with them dramatically looking at each other.
Right.
As they're having this, discovery.
They have, a slow motion almost kiss and then get comedically cut off by someone? Or?
Sure, yeah. Okay. Yeah, that kind of vibe, for sure. So then when McQueen goes back to the town, and Doc tells his story, we would have a stripped down version of The Other Side of Me from Hannah Montana that Doc sings.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's beautiful.
Thank you.
I like how it's specifically stripped down.
I wrote down stripped down reflective old man version, which I think is correct.
Yeah.
And
dang, we should have only scored
just
this
imagine
Hannah
that
Montana
song
songs.
sad. Yeah, right. Imagine that song sad and dramatic. I think it would be really beautiful for him in that moment, with the flashbacks and stuff.
Miley, I know you would never do Hannah Montana again, but please, I know you're watching. Give me an acoustic version of The Other Side of Me.
She's sung The Climb a couple times,
But that was a Miley song, legally.
True, but she's not, Maybe
she dyed
maybe
her
we
hair
haven't
blonde
completely
again.
lost
She's getting
her to
there.
It. It's true. Yeah, I think she's embracing it now.
They put her new biopic on Disney Plus.
They did.
Yeah.
See, she's back with Disney, everyone.
Come on.
And we missed her. Okay. Now as McQueen is getting his new tires and paint job and all of that, we were really in need of a big Radiator Springs number.
Okay.
And so it would be headlined by Luigi and Guido and Ramon and Flo.
Yes. Okay.
And McQueen would be in there, but it would kind of be an everybody thing. The ensemble would come in too, and it would be Me Too by Meghan Trainor.
Okay.
So If I Was You, I'd want to be Me Too.
Yeah.
As McQueen is feeling himself and getting his new paint on and getting his new tires.
I could very much see Luigi singing this.
Everyone's pumping him up.
Luigi's entire life seems to be I wish I could be racing, but I'm just this little fiat
totally.
who can't. this is yes.
So he's so happy to be helping. It's a whole thing. Great. And then he's having his joyous moment, and it's broken by the paparazzi.
Right.
I did also have Paparazzi by Lady Gaga.
Dang. Foiled again.
That one has to happen.
Right. Do you have any different notes for it?
I had a very similar idea where the paparazzi would be the ones singing it, but I think what would be really fun is to make the ending of it sad, and you just see the Radiator Springs friends that he's left behind, sadly singing the end of Paparazzi after everyone is gone.
Right.
But yeah, McQueen would not be a part of this number, singing wise. It would just be everyone pushing him around.
Right.
And then the Radiator Springs friends at the end doing that whole thing. So then McQueen goes back and he races, and his friends are there and he's happy, and then the king crashes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And for this, I had Stay With Me by Sam Smith. Which I feel could be sung by McQueen at first as he's helping him.
Right.
And then, like, definitely by, like, the King's family. And
Yeah.
I feel like the entire crowd comes in. And it's, like, a
Right.
big ensemble number. But as you were talking about how you have a villain song for Chick Hicks, I realized that I completely overlooked that.
Dang.
And I feel like this maybe needs, like, a villain song mashup where Chick Hicks sings something
Right.
else as he's winning. And I think that could be a really powerful moment. And I'm trying to figure out what that would be. So that's kind of a work in progress. But, like,
Okay.
stay with me as a solid.
If you want to add that in editing,
Yeah, if I think of something, I'll put it on the
please put it on screen in editing.
Okay. Okay, hi, here I am in editing. Ty had the fantastic idea for the Chick Hicks mashup song to be All I Do Is Win by DJ Khaled. So that is what we're going to go with. I think it'll be a chaotic mashup, but worth it. There we go. That's what I'll do.
She's editing this, so.
Yeah.
in advance.
Okay, and then after the race, with the whole, like, you know, Dynaco sponsorship sequence, and, like, you know, like you said, Mater has a helicopter ride, he's, like, reunited with his friends, it's, like,
Right.
a whole thing. We would be playing It's Nice to Have a Friend by Taylor Swift,
Okay.
where he would be, like, talking to his friends about how nice it is to have them, but then also talking to Dynaco about how nice it is to have Rusty's, you know?
You've Got a Friend in Me light.
Yeah.
I only know the creepy version they played in the Megan movie about the doll.
Oh my gosh.
All the ads had like a creepy cover of it.
I forgot about that.
So I fully
It's
thought
not that
that
creepy version.
that was what the original sounded.
No, it's
Okay.
not creepy. It's actually very nice and light, and, like, it sounds like snow is falling. It's, like,
Okay.
very cute. Okay, yeah, not the Megan version.
Not the Megan version.
Great. And then our big finale song. This is where I feel like I accidentally bent the rules a little bit, but I think it should be okay. So we have big Radiator Springs finale, like, entire ensemble number. Maybe Chick Hicks is pouting in the corner. But, like, they're in Radiator Springs and they're celebrating that this has all happened. And we're singing We Are Family by Sister Sledge.
Okay. That is I'm very okay with that.
Yeah. And that is what's going down. That's how we rejoice at the end with everybody. So that is my Cars jukebox musical.
Beautiful. So I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna put a poll up for people to vote.
Okay.
For which one was better, or whatever had the better song choices, song placement, etc. What I like with yours is you made yours a lot more McQueen focused, I think. Mine, I felt more like I was trying to give every significant character.
No, but
a
I think
song.
that's important. So I was going to say that I really liked that about yours, is that I think that it actually disperses the songs in a way that a musical would disperse the songs. But yeah, it is my version is more McQueen heavy.
Which I think is perfectly fitting. Anyway, I think we'll put up the poll. Whichever one wins, we may very well have to film a diecast version of it.
We may very well have to.
I may very well have to. So there you go. Thank you for joining me.
Oh my gosh, thank you for having me.
Thank you all so much for watching this video. Make sure to vote. We'll probably have it up on my community page, which means people who didn't see the video will also see the poll. To all of you, please watch this video first. Anyway, guys, thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Would you like to say my awful outro line?
Don't call it awful.
Say the thing.
Bye now.